Hey everybody, it's Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com. So if you ride a scooter, you know what's the most important thing between you and the road. Of course it's the tires. Well, what's the second most important thing between you and the road? Well, it's the air in the tires. What holds the air in the tires is the valve stem. Typically a snap-in rubber valve stem. So there's essentially two different flavors of just standard rubber valve stems for the standard size hole. I think it's 413 thousandths of an inch is the hole size, whatever it comes out in metric. And there's a short one that you find on the GTS and the long ones that you find on the Vespa LX and ET4s. Sometimes you could use them interchangeably. Sometimes you may want the short one. I'm going to show you how to change these. Oftentimes you may have a valve stem rot out before the tire necessarily rots out. So right here I got a 2013 Vespa LX 150 IE. It's a beautiful bike other than some of this weather damage. So yeah, San Diego's not the Rust Belt, but San Diego's pretty coastal. So you get the coastal dew in the mornings and it just attacks everything. If you saw the rest of the scooter, it's got a surf rack on it. The customers had this for several years. The whole family's got scooters, so it's a pretty cool family that knows the benefits of having scooters. Take it down to the beach, but being pretty coastal, the metal sometimes gets attacked. Along with the rubber. Well, the tires look pretty good. They're nice Michelin City Grip tires. I see no cracks on the sidewalls. The date code is within the last 4 or 5 years, so I think they're pretty safe to use. But the stem is a little bit questionable. So you push your stem, you start seeing cracks. A lot of times you have a spontaneous blowout that might be surprising. It may be the stem that deteriorated. And I'm just doing the front, but I'll tell you, on most scooters, the rear stem is what's gonna go. The problem with a scooter is the rear tire is exposed to a lot of heat from the muffler, so it tends to deteriorate the stem and even wear on the tire a little bit quicker than you find on a motorcycle, just so pretty much the tire runs at a higher operating temperature. I'm not gonna bother doing the rear. It's pretty much the same steps. The rear, we're gonna actually change the tire because it needs a tire, as you know, typically wear through a tire. But I want to change the stem for the customer. There's some cracking on it. Also the valve stem cap, which is also pretty important to keep dust out of the Schrader valve. It's just completely blowing out. And I'm going to show you how to do this without removing the whole entire tire. So the first step, you're going to need like a universal Schrader valve tool. Sorry I don't have this on Scooter West, but pretty standard tool. You can find it probably even at Walmart. This is a Michelin branded one that I got from the Michelin rep, and it's not working too well, but you pretty much twist the stem out. We're going to go ahead and take the Schrader valve out, let all the air out of it. This one's still holding air. Sometimes you get ones that are so cracked you already had the blowout, so that's already a problem. The next step is we need to break the bead. So here in the workshop, if we're doing it without the tire machine, we have the jaws of life, as I like to call it. So it pretty much straddles the tire. We use a wrench to tighten it down, and it will break the bead. So this is just a portable bead breaking device. I've showed how to change a tubeless tire in the past on a past video. If you want to take the wheel off, you could certainly do it other means. Tire irons are always useful, but you're not going to be able to break the bead with just basic tire irons. So I'm going to try giving it a shot with a regular C-clamp right here. So pretty much get it right where the stem is, and we'll see how it goes. Might need to use a some other tool, but it looks like it's breaking the bead, getting pretty close to it. Obviously there's no air in the tire, so it pretty much broke the bead without much hassle or issue with just a regular C-clamp. The next thing you want to do is just cut the stem out. If it's a rubber stem, usually you want a sharp razor blade or a sharp knife, and the easiest way is just cut off, especially when they're kind of rotted. That was really easy to cut. And then go ahead and use a small screwdriver. You're going to push the remnants of the stem out of the backside. So that's what's left of the old stem. You can obviously dispose of that. If you want to do the short stem on an LX, that's Scooter West part number stem 1. If you want the longer stem, which is the more traditional car style stem, stem 2. And like I said, they're usually a good quality one. Is good for about 5 years of being exposed to elements. If you want to take it to the next level and you want a stem that lasts a little longer, I have these really nice aluminum K&L stems. They're not pull-in stems, they actually have a nut. So you put it in from the back side of the tire and then you carefully tighten the nut and there's a rubber washer. These tend to last a lot longer. There's a lot of cheap ones out there. You want to completely avoid those. This is a high quality one. The Scooter West part number is 036-00033, and it works on a Vespa as well if you want to use a metal stem. I don't really think they're 100% necessary because eventually the Schrader valve fails as well or starts leaking, so the inexpensive rubber stems work as well. So I got the brand new stem 2, the little bit longer stem, which is kind of the normal size stem for an LX. Pretty much all tubeless tires use one of these styles of stems. A lot of scooters, other than the Vespas, use a 90-degree stem. I have the really high quality Japanese stems that are to 90 degrees. I think it's stem 90. I recommend sticking to the correct stem for what the application is. If you put a 90, it's actually going to stick out too far and you could actually damage the stem, or in some cases it will hit the brake caliper. So you don't really want to mess around with that. You want something like a silicone lubricant that doesn't really attack the rubber. And you know, in the workshop I do have a tire lubricant that we use here, but you do want to spray that. And then from the back side, while you still have the C-clamp in there, go ahead and feed the stem in from the front to the back. So you kind of pull it through. And if you're wondering about the tool that we use in the workshop, this is actually a stem puller. So this is what the guys use. It threads onto the stem. Probably the best way to do that because it doesn't do any damage whatsoever to the stem. And you thread that on, you just yank it through. But I'm gonna actually try it a way I've never done it before, just using basic tools. So I got like an adjustable wrench right here, and I got a rag because I don't want to damage the rim edge. It does take quite a bit of force. I'm not going to grab it by the brass threads, but if you grab it just where the rubber and the brass meets, it's pretty rugged right there because you have the brass underneath the rubber. So just go ahead and lever it. I'm using the wheel edge with the rag behind it to lever it, and I just twisted, and look at that, voila, pulled the stem right in. And at this point, you either want to use some tire lubricant, but where I broke the bead, you know, be careful spraying too much lubricant onto the thing. You don't want to use WD-40 because that will actually cause the rubber to kind of seat to the aluminum of the rim. So pretty important. A lot of people oversee this. I have a lot of scooters towed in. It's not a blown out tire, it's a blown out valve stem. So it's pretty hard to seat a tire unless you have compressed air. You usually need high volume. This is air that's in a tank with a big compressor to back it up. We're gonna go ahead and pull the Schrader valve out. And that just pulls out like such. And kind of step away, you probably want to be wearing safety glasses. And see how it popped? And at this point, put the Schrader valve back in. And we'll go ahead and just inflate it with an inflator that has a pressure gauge on it. Unfortunately, it probably takes a lot of luck to have a small inflator like this seat the bead. But we'll go ahead and fill the tire all the way up. And that's what it takes to replace the stem on your scooter, and you know it's all good. The rest of the tire looks great, still has some good service life. Not surprising on a front tire, I see a lot of scooters come through here. The tire will actually end up dry rotting before you wear through the tread. on the tire. But like I said, this is only about 4.5-year-old tire based on the date code. Still got plenty of tread and looks pretty good. But change out that stem that was just starting to show signs of dry rot. All right, thanks for watching. Robot here from Vespa Motorsport and ScooterWest.com. I hope you learned something new. Easy way to change a valve stem when needed. Pretty nice to have one of these on you if you're doing a road trip. Just a little side note, there's always a possibility one can blow out on you. They do fail. And as much as I like metal ones, they do have their own failure points as well. Sometimes I find they leak prematurely, while the rubber ones have a very positive rubber seal but have a limited lifetime.